Turn off the heater. Hey everybody! Turn off the heater here so we don't have that extra sound. Welcome to Integration Week. This is Advanced Permaculture Student Online. I'm your lead facilitator, Matt Powers. And I'm so glad that you are all here. Really quick, just like usual, I'm just going to be going over here and checking to make sure that we have people. Gavin is here. Hello, Gavin. All right. Good to see folks are here. Good to see folks are excited. I'm just going to get right into it because here, so we don't have that extra sound. Welcome to the overlap. Boom. All right. So I'm so excited that you're all here. I'm again in my office studio corner of my house, and we are talking about advanced permaculture. And so today I have some of your questions. There's not very many that were filled out for this week. I think there's 4, and we can get right through those really quick. But there's a whole lot of things that have come up in the group and in emails and in questions that people had that I just wanted to address with the group so that you could get all the value out of those smaller interactions that are happening, that are patterns that I get to see because I'm a central node in the whole system of our community. So So when we lead in permaculture with like quantification and specifics and facts, versus like biophilia, just like we love and want to help nature, and it's like that doesn't work, switch it out, let's keep going, you know what I mean? This quantifications are always going to change. I mean, we're finding out that there's bacteria inside the mycelium of mycorrhizal fungi. What does that mean? These things are a lot more complicated than we understood, and that they're going to continue to become more complicated. And that's okay. That's the world of quantification. That's science. And it's always expanding, you know, and finding more beautiful complexities and patterns and cool things. That's great. Biophilia, our love of nature, seed saving, gardening, being outdoors, the animals, all that, that is enduring. And it's like, it doesn't change when the quantifications change. And if you're aligned properly, it deepens, you know what I mean? So be careful with getting too like tied up in quantifications, because they change. Like if you were like dead set on the way that soil worked in 1990, you'd be completely lost today, or even 2005. You know, or 2010, if you were like locked in and you're just like, this is what Elaine Ingham said in 2010 and this is who I am. That's not how Elaine is. Elaine's already moved on. Elaine is updating all her online courses, updating all her books, rewriting all her books. Yeah, she's been studying and she's been growing. And so all the disciplines have, all the research has, things are increasingly forcing us to grow. And it's not bad, it's great. And so I really recommend, as we go further and further into this, that we lead with best practices. Of course, always do the research, bring in professionals, you know, who do those things to get amazing feedback. And that's why I brought professionals into this course, you know what I mean? And so, you know, and that's why I'm a teacher for this course, because I am a professional educator. You know what I mean? And so like do that. Like get those formulas, use this quantification where you need to, but understand that as our climate changes, as our understanding of physics expands, as all these things change, we don't lose like touch with our passion and like why we're here. You know what I mean? Why we're doing this. Because that why is the thing that actually pulls you through all that. And And I think a lot of social media is focused on the quantification rather than the biophilia in permaculture. And so you have people arguing, you know, over like the best, whether like they're going the best of the best. They're like, oh no, swales are always better than keyline. No, keyline's always better than swales. And like they're caught up in like this like pinnacle, and it's like, well, you can use swales with keyline systems when it's appropriate, and you go off contour when it's appropriate. It's just be responding to the actual landscape, and there's numerous different responses too, depending on your goals. So you know what I mean. So we really want to keep our love as our foundation. And so like the quantifications, the disagreements that people have over numbers, over techniques, those kinds of things in permaculture that we see online all the time in social media and groups and whatnot, don't harm us and don't affect our progression. Because the reality is everything's on a spectrum. You might do natural farming here. You might do biointensive farming here. You might take Jean-Martin Fortier's technique and then flip it and twist it just like he is in his perennial version of his market garden, which is all permaculture based. You know, you might twist it and then take a piece of Fukuoka, take a piece of Curtis Stone, you might do Curtis Stone's, exact business plan, except for the cultivation. It's all natural farming. You know what I mean? And it, like, all these pieces, these people and individuals, have their drawbacks. I mean, people think Fukuoka was perfect. It took them 20 years to figure out how to stop using pesticides and fertilizers and find it, how to like get to that higher yield. 20 years. And he continued to taper off with his conventional chemical ag, things. So perfection is not found herein. Only people who learn through mistakes and growth and testing, experimenting, reflection. Hold on one second. I think that's a coyote or something. I gotta go get Marcy. I'll be right back. My little dog's out there. All right, we're back. We're all able to hear me, right? Yeah. The mic's working. I can tell that. So the dog's fine, whatnot. There's always animals and predators and whatnot. So I just want to get the little dog inside because the little dog can't really protect herself. So love that dog, biophilia. All right, so biophilia really is that steady foundation that we need to anchor ourselves in because things will change. I mean, nitrogen fixation by lichens is the primary mode in some cold temperate climates. And, until Peter McCoy came along, people didn't know that. And so just like, if you look at Jenkins' Humanure Handbook, there's no mention of thermophilic fungi. It's only bacteria in that hot compost in his book. And that's just not real. It's just not true. So it's really important not to be married to the quantifications because they're changing constantly, to keep an open hand, a hand that is, one that is made of wonder, your wonder, your curiosity, let those things continue to guide you, because not only that, as you learn and study and practice these things, you'll start seeing how they are different in different situations. And that's just the way it is with everything. Man, these dogs. All right. Well, I can't really do anything about that dog right now. He's just going to keep barking. All right, so uniformity. All right, that's the other thing, is that the reason I give a spectrum so that you can take pieces from everything. So whether it's, a market gardener doing some things right and maybe not all what you think is right, or maybe it's a natural farmer who you think is doing things right, but maybe they did it wrong for 30 years, in order to figure it out, because that's the natural farming way, right? You just let it occur to you. I mean, like maybe, you know what I mean? Like that's the do nothing farming, right? So there's got to be some play between that, using best practices of what commercial growers are doing versus what people are doing and experimenting with at the most, esoteric level, but still getting results. So there has to be this spectrum in which we can pull from and apply from different things. There's a second dog out there. That's not my dog. Oh, it's a visiting dog. I see what's going on. So that's annoying. I'm sorry, everyone. There's a visiting dog outside that has come onto the property. I can hear it. Yeah. I think it's a visiting dog. It could be actually a coyote. Yeah, I see it. It's a dog or a coyote. I can't see it quite clearly at distance. So anyway, this is the chorus of my dogs. And at times when wild animals are here, it is very difficult to film and get good takes. So we have bears that, as they're running away, are this high. I know that seems like crazy. And like I told someone about it and they kind of gave me this look like I was crazy because I had experienced it. The thing had come up behind me and then like started turning away, like because it was like walking around the teepee and saw me and like turned away like this. And I was like, what's going on? And I turned around and I saw this giant thing lumbering away. It freaked me out. I yelled at it. Didn't run. It just kept lumbering. But it was this tall. So there's giant animals out there and whatnot. So they're just going to argue, I guess. Uniformity. One size fits no one. We ourselves are a community of diverse beings, and we need to maintain that diversity. Some people, doing biointensive, maybe they don't use, we help them evolve past the plastic, and that's amazing and that's great. Wow, this is a chorus of dogs, isn't it? But the point is that everyone's going to do things in different ways. Everyone's going to express themselves in their own unique way, and we can't expect everyone, especially climate-wise, to all be the same or all have the same, kind of expression or strategy or technique set. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is the coyote. He's right there on the edge. Yeah, or it's another dog, but I think it actually is not a dog. All right. It's just goading my dogs right there on the edge of the property. All right, so diversity is really requisite, and then best practices and adaptation are always key to evolutionary and regenerative growth. So what's easy? Oh man, I'm so distracted. Hold on one second. Just 1 second, guys. Hey guys. Okay. All the dogs are in. And it is the neighbor's dog that is, quote, broken. That's why it has that awful bark. It's so live, like you just said. It is very live with all the wrinkles. So, and broken dogs. So, yeah, we can't go for uniformity. We have to go with best practices so we understand what's possible. And then we have to go to like all the different adaptations that people have done so that you can mix those two things and then create new patterns and new systems. Because unless you have what is proven to work at a professional commercial scale, and then you see all the different variations of what people have done, you don't actually have all, I mean, it just guides you in all the wrong directions. I mean, why, are you in this course and not just watching YouTube? Well, because it's an endless soup of techniques and you have no idea if any of it's real. And because of that, if it's all this just backyard yahoos who don't live and die by that, then, we can't really trust that what they're talking about is so strong that it can scale. So it's really imperative that we do have best practice like Jean Fortier, like Michael Phillips, like Peter McCoy, like Dr. Elaine Ingham, like Chris Trump. All these people who demonstrate best practices in their niche are really incredibly important for us to showcase because they actually have a deep understanding. And when they talk about these things from that deeper understanding, we're actually getting a different kind of understanding as we learn, because we're mirror neuroning, we're getting a mental construct pattern from someone who's done it, which is completely different. It's very authentic. And because of the authenticity, it gives us a level of confidence, understanding, and clarity that is totally unparalleled. It's like you could have the same information being taught by two different teachers, but one who has used that same technique to make millions of dollars, and one who learned about it from that same person over the weekend. You're going to have a total difference, right? You're going to have someone who has lived it, someone who has sold it, someone who has coached people through it, someone who has learned from masters in multiple disciplines in that field, so that they can retool and be able to talk about and understand. You know what I mean? It's like that. You want that. So that's why I don't go for just one size fits all. I don't do the whole best thing and like follow my way or the highway kind of guruism. I don't value any of that. And so that's why I do things the way I do. And sometimes, they will have those wrinkles. They will have those caveats. And aren't we going to have to be ready for those caveats in our own lives, in our own bioregions, with the people that we coach, with the people that are relying upon us for clarity? Yes, we're going to have to wade through all of that. So why not now? Why not here in a classroom environment? Can we start analyzing and critically talking about these things, which is exactly what happens. And that's why I do it, because I want us to be like, yeah, well, he's burning that plastic. I would never do that. Right. And now we've had that conversation as a community. And everyone's like, I would never do that. And guess what? That means that we just made the standard, the bar, go higher. Though we recognize what's good about the technique. And it's like, we're combining all these different things. We're creating things that are new. But when we do it in a group, when we discuss it, changes it. And the value within us, and the value in the community, and the understanding and the expectations of the community, and for ourselves, and our own performance. So that's why I do that. That's why I'm always doing that. And then what's easy for some is always hard for others. So forgive me if I do say some things are easy. But in life, everything that is hard for you is easy for someone. Everything that is hard for me is easy for someone like my wife. But really, no. I like there's always someone out there that's the complement to your weakness, no matter what it is. So when we share our frustrations, when we share where we're weak, it allows for other people in our community to come in and be that bridge, that modality, that um, yeah, that learning modality, that it's going to come in, that they're going to be able to talk to in 13 to 15 different ways when you have this group kind of interaction. And suddenly, and you're going to have people echo each other, and that's fine. That's great. That actually reinforces those individual points, and you get different angles on those. But what happens is you get this like refrain and confidence, and you get all these different perspectives, and then you get to start making using all those different points of data. You start being like, well, I agree with that, and I don't agree with that, and you start creating this greater understanding. So I really think it's powerful in this community to share what you need help with. So the number one thing that people need help with is map making. So there are now programs that I've shared, that members in our group have shared, that literally automatically do your contour. And you're like, oh, but no, it's actually like not hard. Like they literally just entered it in, and it made a color map. So it just shows like gradient, and it's a totally different kind of contour map, but it shows your danger spots. You know what I mean? Your super steep spots, there's your nice flat spots. And so, your garden areas, your pond areas, you suddenly see things, right? And that's the whole point. Knowing which direction water is, which way direction flow is, down is also really critical. So doing this by hand is possible. You could use, like you could literally draw out a map. You could use an A-frame or bunyip or something like that to actually map out and stake out the contours. If it's a small area, many people have very small areas. You could use SketchUp. You could pay for SketchUp. People pay for these things. Not everything in life is, going to be free or free all the time. There are free versions of SketchUp, and they're not good. Drawing by hand, can work perfectly for you. You can be so good at it that's your professional thing. You just draw landscapes. And then mapping with a protractor and rules, if you've got a good topographic map, like I demonstrate, is totally possible at a professional level. I mean, that's what, architects are doing all the time, is they're demonstrating with, just like paper and ruler and protractors, what's possible. And then, getting your classmates to help you, because I guarantee, as fast as I did it on that video, in 5 minutes, someone else can do that same exact thing. Maybe they just got signed up on it, and they're like, well, that was so easy. Does anyone else want, me to do this for you? And the reality is, it's like, in the past I've done it, but and then in the past I've offered and been inundated too. But the thing is, it's so easy if someone just does it. Like if you do it, that it's easy. It's 4 or 5 steps. It's click and pinch. You know what I mean? It's pulling. Like click and pull, and then it's there. And you click, 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 done. So when you think about the physicality of it, I know that there's a pattern, and there's layers, and there's things and tabs and stuff to remember, but it's physically, you're looking with your eyes, you're clicking with your mouse, and you're moving that mouse. So realistically, this is not past anyone. I mean, so just couching things in our mind in a way that's empowering too is also important, and not being like, I'm always frustrated by computers. If we say we're always frustrated by computers, we're going to create that reality. And that's a lot of what we're talking about in the Regenerate Entrepreneurs course, is the mindset, the growth mindset that allows us to overcome obstacles, consistently become greater. So ask for help, because if that's just the one thing that's bothering you, and it's easy for someone else, because it's always something that is hard for us is always easy for someone out there, then getting it done and getting ahead is just, you can do that too. So don't feel held back by any of this. You can learn it, you can outsource it, you can get it done, you can move on. But yeah, the map making is usually the number one thing, the number one fail point in every single PDC and gardening course that has map making. So yeah, it's really important to ask for help in that crucial time period, and recognize that, you know, we're here in a big community and that we're here to help you, and that we'll be there and we'll figure it out together. All right, so now diving into your questions. All right, so you've got a very flat area. The thing is, I'm devising a way to find the larger slope of the area, so that will certainly color my planting patterns, and where to create a flood outlet. I mean, you can literally walk around with your phone and see the elevation change down very minutely. Do you have rough scheduling to your days and everything you want to do, writing books, family? Well, I guess we're talking about planning. That fits. That was just like a weird to me. But I wanted to just finish what you were saying about the rhetorical question, though. If it's flat and you feel like there's no contour to it, there still is a flow of water. And knowing that flow is going to change things. Let's say it seems flat. And you put your garden in there and you're like, it's always wet on what side? One side. What does that mean? That one side is the direction of the slope, is down in your garden. So it's really important to get out there with a bunyip level or your cell phone, or get on Google SketchUp and do or a GIS thing and do, you know, down to really minute things, or get a drone overpass if it's that big of a project. If it's a smaller project, yeah, just use your A-frame and go out there and stake out and see what's going on. And I try to get a real good view of what's happening in that space, because it'll tell you a story even when it's flat. All right, now back to this. So how do I balance all of this? Well, I have calendars. I talk about this extensively in the next course, the Regenerative Entrepreneurs and Experts. So if, I mean, people later on might see this and be like, oh man, you guys got in free. But yeah, everyone who's watching this, you get into Regenerative Entrepreneurs and Experts free. So it's this last season, I'm gonna do it as a full course freebie. I'm going to be having a lot of experts actually participate in that course. So it's going to become a lot more like the Advanced Permaculture Student Online, and expand and grow. So what do? Well, I really have my goals mapped out. I have really clear calendar. I've got, let me just show you here, High Performance Planner, Brendan Burchard's, like, just unbelievable organization and reflection. I've got a gratitude journal, got High Performance Habits. Just this week, I finished the teacher's guide, and that the test copy is on its way to me, Permaculture Student Teacher's Guide, with the Advanced Permaculture Student Teacher's Guide. And then I finished the Italian and the French, and the Italian's done. The French is getting one final look over, and then I'm just going to touch it up and it's done. So I did 3 books essentially in 1 week again. So I don't know what's going on, but I do know that the less that I worry, the less that I put energy into worry and put more energy into performance and enthusiasm, the higher level that I perform at, the more stuff I get done, the more time I get with my kids, the more connection I have with my wife. So I'm doing an entire course about this, actually, called Unstoppable Enthusiasm, an entire book about it. So I'll be doing a Kickstarter in February. So stay tuned for that, because I know a lot of people feel like I have this endless energy. And I've trained myself to have this energy. And like right now, my shoulder's like got all this stuff going on. If I touch it and engage that space and start thinking about it, I have like a neck thing going on. Yesterday I pushed really hard, and went a little too hard. Woo! But like that's the thing though, is it's like, how do you ignore pain? How do you minimize pain? How do you perform at your highest level when you've got a sore throat, or when you're sick? You know what I mean? And it is by intentionally kindling that fire within you, that enthusiasm, making it so that it's unstoppable. And that's really what I'm excited to talk about in 2019. I'm so excited because it is actually the fire that pulls you through all the complexity of permaculture, that pulls you through. It's that biophilia, it's that lust for life. It's that excitement, but it's also that faith and gratitude. It's a bundle of things. There's a lot to talk about here. I've got an entire book on it. So I'll be talking more about that. But yeah, in the past year, I've literally written, and I'm about to release my 9th book in 1 year. So there's a lot going on here. It's in the past year, I've radically changed my life, and as I've changed my life, my production is just like through the roof. So there's, and I want to share these secrets, these habits, these realizations and insights with everyone. So that's what I'm going to be doing in 2019. Do you dedicate certain days to certain areas? I'm way more variable than that. Is your input outside on your land less than in other seasons? When it's winter, yeah. When it's pouring rain here in the Pacific Northwest, I get to do a lot of indoor work. Totally. And yeah, I like having the cold temperate because I get to do work. Perhaps that's part of why I've been so effective this year, is I've had the seasons, year-round gardening, year-round everything, always growing all the time. Doesn't give you as much time for reflection in California, I found. At least that was for me. Anything related to this is useful for us, appreciated more than minute details of your personal life. Okay. Yeah, so we'll be going over that in Unstoppable Enthusiasm. I hope you join me in that, Landon. I hope you all join me in that in February. All right, so Janie's question is, we'll definitely be making Korean natural farming rice. Oh, there's no question there. She's just excited. I am so excited too. I'm really excited for the warmer temperatures to come back so I can make new videos. I want to redo all the compost tea videos with the new recipes and preps from the new unreleased Elaine Ingham book that that she asked me to format, and then life got really crazy. And she started redoing all of her videos, and she's going to circle back. I'm going to circle back too, and we're going to work on finishing the format. I basically was about to do the index, make the index, which, you know how that goes, right? But then she wanted to add things, and I was like, I'm not going to do the index, do page numbers. Not until I know, you know what I mean, if we're done putting things in. So she was like, all right, well, then I have to really look it over. And I was like, okay. And so then she started doing the course, and then I started doing this. So that's coming. And so I wanted to do the actual preps from that, because they're very interesting. They're different than what's online. So I really want to showcase those, specifically because she's rewriting and redoing everything right now. And she's, she's influenced by new research. She's influenced by new ideas, new preps, new techniques. She's testing everything out. She's looking at her microscope. So yeah, there's a lot of new things on the way from Elaine, which so amazing. What a great example, right? Continuous innovator. I love her. I love her so much. Yeah, I just feel so privileged to know her and have her as part of my life. All right, so the part about IMOs and what IMOs you really can use and how to store them was challenging for me. But after rewatching everything and looking some more online, I think I get the gist of it. Also, map making is more challenging, as I currently do not have my own big plot of land, and Belgium contour lines where I am at can't easily be found, as it's quite flat here. Difference 1 to 2 meters. Okay, number one thing I'm going to tell you is that if you really want these skills, if you want these skills, go and find contour anywhere. Get fake contour lines off the internet, or not fake, but just universal, anything. Go get the Himalayas contour lines, or get any contour lines you can get your hands and start playing with them. Start being like, well, how would I put a dam at the highest? Where's the key point in this actually? You know what I mean? Like start like figuring out like the keyline geometry. You know what I mean? Just start engaging with it. Start seeing the highest, flattest the point. Start looking for where the deposition areas are. Start looking for where the old creeks were in the desert, and where that one flood event happened. Look at the wadis. Look at all those different kinds of landscape features. Run through all the different ideas and concepts I've talked about, and start really playing with them from different perspectives. Because you start doing it from the classic zonal perspective, and then you start doing it from Yeoman's, and then start Gregorian's platform, and then you're like, wait a second. And you start seeing all these possibilities and these hard edges, where it's like, well, if I really want water, I have to do this. The key line, the key point, damn, right? And then everything starts falling into place when you start doing this. So I highly recommend getting used to this. If you want to consult and be good at this stuff and be a master at this stuff, do it every single day. And that seems weird, right? No. Think about this. As a child, you did like math every day for like an hour, you know what I mean? Or more, you know what I mean? And that's the only reason we get good at it, because if you don't, it doesn't stick. So it's really critical that we dive into this, and regardless of whether we're on a property, we can't find a property, get those skills. Those skills are there waiting for you, just there. They're in a field somewhere. You just got to go over that mountain and go over that, go get it. So yeah, I would say that even if you don't have the topographic Goldilocks moment happening in your backyard, I would say that go out and find whatever you can and make it your Goldilocks. All right. So I addressed map making. Okay, the brittleness scale. So there are no brittleness scale maps that I know of. Let me go like this and just see if I'm right about that. So brittleness scale maps. Yeah, I don't really see that anywhere. Nope, nothing like that. So yeah, I don't see anything like that anywhere, because the thing is, it's not objective enough to create a standardized brittleness scale, because it's how the landscape, it's really the hydrology, the level, the moisture level at surface level on the ground. So it's slightly in the ground and slightly above the ground. It's that moisture level. And that moisture level is what allows it to heal quickly. So in humid climates, it can heal quickly. But even in like drier climates, the reason that it heals quickly and it's non-brittle in those specific special instances, because the soil moisture would be found in the soil, and it's emanating from there. And so it's the high organic matter holding the moisture throughout time, and all those different living things holding the moisture, and it creating that ambient moisture right in there. So that means that we have some variables here. So it's not just the climate itself is brittle, it's that site specific. That's why I say you might have parts of your landscape that are more brittle than others. And that's why scarring the land and seeing if it spreads or if it heals quickly tells you for sure how brittle it is. And of course, it's subjective. And so we'll go over it again. If it spreads, that's definitely a very brittle climate. If it doesn't heal, that's a brittle climate. If it's slow to heal, that's slightly brittle. If it heals, but it takes its time, that's a slightly, non-brittle. And then if it's takes some time but heals pretty quick, then that's a non-brittle climate. It's just going to heal. And if it's super boom, it always heals like super fast, instantaneously. You will come back. It's like that guy who shaves and by afternoon he came back. That's a non-brittle climate. That climate, people can like till, people can do all these different things to an certain degree with. So it's really important to understand those kinds of things, and also to understand what our goals are, because our goal isn't to just be able to abuse the land to a certain point. Be like, oh no, we can abuse it up to this point, and then we gotta ease off. That's not our perspective. That's a dangerous perspective. That's a perspective that's never going to lead us to higher levels of service to whatever we're working with, and higher levels of expression within all these different roles, their role, our role. And so, yeah, I think we need to come from a place of love. So yeah, going back to the brittleness scale, I just think that it's just that simple, and just use it as a tool, just like just like any of the quantitative reasoning. When you get down to it, it's all somewhat subjective. All right, and that is the questions, or those are the questions. Oh wait, there's one more. I refreshed it just because. All right, there is so much that I want to learn about the mycological world, and I am hoping to start growing and working with different mushrooms. Is there a question? Awesome. You're excited for spring too. No question there, but I'm going to hop over here because I know there's questions over here. Oh my God. Sasquatch. Yes. Sasquatch is a very slow loper. All right, looking for questions. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate it. This was fun. It was short but sweet. I will see many of you at 11 o'clock for our Regenerative Entrepreneurs and Experts Q&A. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're talking about, what are we talking about? I think we're talking about presenting. So I'm going to have to go over there and check out and see what we're talking about, and we'll look over your questions before we go into that. But thank you all for joining me. Thank you for being part of the Advanced Permaculture Student Online community, where we're committed to making the world a better place, starting with ourselves, starting with our own homesteads, businesses, lifestyles, teaching, and practice wherever we can. And I just want to thank you for participating. This is an integration week. People are catching up. You may still be working on catching up. You may be just watching this later on, just catching up. You may be watching this in review much, much later on. But I want to thank you for doing the work. This stuff, the soil and the fungi, isn't easy. In many ways, I think the key for me with reading my Radical Mycology, that giant book, and was applying my greatest level of enthusiasm. And it was just hard to hold on to that much information and then grasp it in a way that was useful. Initially, like the phylas, like all that information about the way they reproduce. But because I held on not to all the information, the insights I was able to have starting about halfway through his book were so profound. It fundamentally changed everything I wrote about in the Permaculture Student 2, the way I think about permaculture, the way I think about life. And so that kind of profound change only comes through pushing ourselves to grasp at a greater level. And that's what you are doing right now. Whether you've been studying permaculture a long time or you're just getting into it. Doing this work is hard work. Iterating it out, going through all the pieces, checking our understanding, aligning our understanding, integrating it all into a logical whole, understanding it in a fluent way, micro to macro. These are things that define advanced permaculture. I'm Matt Powers. Grow abundantly, learn daily, and of course, live regeneratively. I will see you at 11 a.m. Pacific time if you join me there. And if not, have an amazing, amazing Christmas and holiday week. If you have already had your holiday this season, I hope that it was amazing. I hope that you grew closer with your family and friends. I hope that you had special moments of reflection and growth. And if you haven't had your vacation or your break yet, or that time with your family, I hope that you make time for it. I hope that you set aside what's necessary to make that possible in your life. Because for me, Landon's question, about how do I find balance, a lot of it is saying no, or not answering those emails immediately, or, and deciding what's important right now and just sticking to it and enjoying it and not stressing and letting go of all those things. Because they'll come back to you. You're not going to forget. You wrote them down. You get that alarm. You got something else to remind you. It doesn't matter. You're going to let go now. And it's going to be great. So that's what I've learned to do a lot. Because, when you're messing with cancer, when you're dealing with cancer, your very attitude affects it. And when your attitude's contagious, as mine always has been, my negativity, my positivity, my frustration, my exuberance, they're all infectious equally. And so I have to actually be very, very careful with myself. And so I've learned to direct, control, and focus like a laser my intention. And that's part of what Unstoppable Enthusiasm is going to be all about. And so 2019, it's all about becoming unstoppable. And I hope you join me in that too. Have an amazing, amazing break. And I will see you the final day. Right? Well, yeah, actually, no. No, I'm going to see you in 2019. I'm not going to do a New Year's Eve thing. I'll see you in 2019. If I might do New Year's thing, I don't know. It just might be a surprise. We'll see. But, oh yeah, I'm actually going to do a New Year's thing. I'm alone on New Year's. My wife is down with the boys, the family thing, and I've got the animals. I got all the dogs. So I'll do a New Year's thing for sure. So I'll see you soon. I'll see you then. So we'll kick off the new year together on the right foot and get really excited and ecstatic and become unstoppable. All right. Have an amazing week. I'll see you all soon.